This is Goku with TGN bringing you the top 10 most anticipated video games for 2016. Hope your holidays were awesome. 2016 is here, and with it come a ton of video games that show a lot of promise. These are TGN's top 10 picks.
Uncharted 4 is without a doubt one of the most anticipated games of 2016, and with good reason. The Uncharted series has delivered a memorable experience with every single installment, from solid visuals and animations to memorable and interesting stories, and not forgetting the rock-solid gameplay. Naughty Dog are masters at squeezing every ounce of performance out of the PlayStation platform, so we can't wait to see what they can achieve with A Thief's End. I mean, have you seen the gameplay video that's been released? That's just a small chunk of what we have to look forward to, and goddamn, it looks amazing.
Tom Clancy's The Division got somewhat of a bad rap with the demos they showed at E3 and Gamescom, and honestly, it was well deserved. It was a demo of a small section of the Dark Zone, which turned the whole thing into a team deathmatch sort of game mode that just didn't feel great. And with the recent alpha, it turns out it was just a really bad demo, because that's not what the game's about at all. It's a cooperative, loot-driven, open-world game set in a ravaged New York City. Think of Destiny, but with a story and in an open-world setting. Sounds super promising. The Last Guardian suffered from so many delays and complications that at some point we questioned whether or not this game was ever gonna come out. But finally at E3 they've confirmed the 2016 release. This is coming to us from Team Ico, the developer of, Ico, the video game. And this title seems to share some similarities. It's a story about a young boy who befriends a few creatures that work together with him through some platforming sections. We're expecting a very emotional story about friendship that is sure to crush our hearts and feelings at some point.
As a fan of shooting games my whole life and having sunk thousands of hours between GoldenEye, Half-Life, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, and numerous other shooting games, Overwatch has already become one of my favorite shooters, and just from the beta. And while there is still a lot of work to be done and a much needed ranking ladder system, the game just has so much potential to be excited about. The combination of shooter and MOBA is a perfect blend that just works so well and is so fun to play out. The characters are well balanced, and I'm personally not really a fan of esports, but this is an actual game that could actually get me excited to start watching.
You know, I think it's kind of cheating when you've been hyping up a game for 10 years. It would obviously make its way onto this list. Final Fantasy was announced back in 2006. Back then it was Final Fantasy Versus 13, and immediately grasped our attention with all the pretty graphics and art style. And with the recent demo that was released to the public, it does not disappoint. It is one good-looking game, that's for sure. But that's not where our interest stops. You can now explore the environment with a free running style. The combat system has received some treatment, pulling it further and further away from the traditional turn-based combat. And the characters, the setting, it all looks very promising. 10 years of anticipation, that's not an easy thing to live up to. Good luck, Final Fantasy.
Dark Souls 3, Miyazaki's final entry in the Souls saga. Do I really need to say anything else? The Souls series has been unprecedented in giving players a sense of real achievement by challenging them and actually molding them into better players. Dark Souls 3 will be improving the combat from its predecessors with the addition of the weapon arts system, increased responsiveness, and a faster pace, which will naturally mean that your opponents will also be more challenging to even up the odds. But of all the great things this title will add to the series, I think the most important one is closure. This will be the last entry in a franchise that has impacted me more than any other piece of entertainment. And in an industry that suffers from studios producing too many sequels to their successful titles, it is nice to know that the Souls series will not be following in these footsteps. All good things must come to an end. I hope to see you all in Dark Souls 3 for one last season of jolly cooperation. Praise the sun, my brothers. Praise the sun.
My favorite franchise of all time is finally coming to the Nintendo Wii U in 2016. Well, hopefully at least. The game was supposed to be coming out during the holiday stretch of 2015, but Nintendo ended up having to push the title back to 2016. And while I'm sad I have to wait, I know it's for the best, and I'm sure you guys know that as well. They just want to make this game as polished as possible. And if you can believe in one developer, it's Nintendo to release a polished product. This is going to be a massive release for Nintendo, and personally, cannot wait to explore the world, solve some puzzles and dungeons, and see what adventures Link is going to be up to this time around. And I know Nintendo has struggled to keep up with the competition in terms of the console race, but The Legend of Zelda is looking to bring a much needed boost to Nintendo that they definitely need.
What can I tell you about Scalebound? Well, it's developed by Platinum Games, so you know the action combat is going to be good. And on top of that, they're adding RPG elements for the main character and your pet dragon. That's right, you can select from a variety of weapons for your human character Drew, as well as get different pieces of armor and such. But you can also select different armor for your dragon and even play around with different elements for its dragon breath. Also, there's going to be 4-player co-op, 4 humans and 4 dragons in the same game. It's an incredibly promising universe from a developer that has proven time and time again that they can do good combat. We'll see if they can do good RPG as well. The Infinite Game. You could spend your whole life exploring No Man's Sky and never truly see the end of it. And this skill has seduced a lot of players. And it's not necessarily something that hasn't been done before, but this game has a larger appeal than your typical space simulation game because it simplifies a lot of its systems. In No Man's Sky you can be whatever you want, an explorer, a space cowboy, a trader, whatever. And with a practically infinite amount of planets to explore, this game can keep you busy for the rest of your life. The premise is interesting, hopefully the procedural generation works and the planets won't be boring for most of the time. Really hope this game delivers. And Horizon Zero Dawn takes our #1 spot. Its setting is quite unique, a world after the apocalypse, a post-apocalyptic setting where men have returned to their primitive ways. The land is ruled by giant robot dinosaurs. In order to survive, you must hunt such creatures for different resources, using a variety of special arrows and your bowcaster gun to set traps all over the place. Each enemy is composed of dozens of individual parts that can be shot off to reveal weak spots or even be used as weapons against the robots themselves. This game promises a lot of interesting fights against the different creatures, and the original setting really sells it for me. Can't wait for this awesome game to come out.